Welcome everybody to Lady Family Live. I'm Jason Lede. I'm the hospitality manager here at Cliff Lady Vineyards. Hopefully you've joined in the past webinars or come by and maybe we've met. So I'm not going to go through my full history and bore you guys with that, but it's great to join you again. Hopefully everyone's been doing well since our last webinar back in December. I see that we got some stuff going on the chat, which is fantastic. Please, guys, get on that chat. Start telling us what you're enjoying tonight. Any questions you have as we go through the session, throw them in that chat. I'll be monitoring that, as will a couple of our team members. They'll be in there, so they'd be more than happy to talk with you on the side while we go through tonight's session. So tonight, yeah, we're going outside the box, I guess, the chocolate box. I don't know. Normally we have our winemakers come on and tell us all about the new releases and things like that. But we felt like with Valentine's Day coming up, it would be fun to do something a little bit different. Now, we decided to reach out to one of our favorite local shops here in Yountville, Kollar Chocolates. And I mean, if you guys haven't had their stuff in the past and you have the box with you tonight, you're really going to enjoy that. I've got my little tasting box right here, so you can go ahead and get that out, get that ready. I know there's not a guide in there, but we'll get Chef Izzy from Kollar Chocolates to come on and run through what's in the box and how we're going to kind of go through that. So I'm excited. I'll be honest, chocolate and wine, I don't know. I've never really been able to wrap my head around the whole chocolate and wine pairing. I'm excited to see what we're going to do tonight because Kollar had these wines, tasted these wines, and chose the chocolates based on that. So we put a lot of love into this. We put a lot of effort into this. And so I hope you guys all enjoy it. Now, the last couple things I want to go through is if you are a wine club member and you got your recent shipment, hopefully you're enjoying those and getting excited to open those bottles soon. I know there's some great 2018s that were released there, and we've just been getting incredible scores on the 18s. So we hope you enjoy those. Head to your member portal online for all kinds of information, recipes, all kinds of resources are there. Definitely check it out. Our marketing team has put a lot of work into that. So, you know, go see it. Last point, I just want to mention that we are reopened. So the last time we talked on the webinar, we were still shut down. But we just reopened about a couple weeks ago, and we've slowly kind of been reopening our spaces. Of course, everything is still outdoors, and we are getting a little rain here and there. So we do have covered spots that we can use to host you. So we'd love to see you come join us, you know, dress for the weather. It can get a little cool out here, but we want to see you guys. Come and see us. I'll throw it out there. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot of PTO built up because you haven't been going on vacations and you haven't been able to get out. But if you want to use up those days, come see us during the week. It's nice and quiet. You'll get a lot of love, a lot of attention from our guys, Ricardo, Bob. They would love to see you, love to take care of you. Art, of course, Kelly. So come see us during the week. You know, it's a nice little excuse to get away. We have all these awesome hotel partnerships, which you can find on your member portal. Use them. Use those discounts. Come out to Yountville. Have a great time. It's socially distanced. It's safe. And it's a beautiful time of year. Hills are green. It's gorgeous. The air is super fresh. So that's about it. That's about all I'm going to say for now. I'm going to go ahead and look for our special guest tonight, Chef Izzy, and see if she has been able to get on. Let's see. I don't see her in the attendees here. I've got a raised hand in the attendees. She was on our practice session a little bit earlier. So let's see, where do we got these? Well, maybe I'll be doing a chocolate session on my own tonight. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Chef, if you're here, oh, there we go. We got her under a different name, secret code name. So that's how we do things sometimes. We come in with the secret code name. Jennifer Flynn, also a member of Kollar. That's who we're in here. So we're going to bring Izzy on via Jennifer, joining us now. So we're going to let them kind of run away with it, tell us all about the history of chocolate, all kinds of interesting stuff. Hey, Izzy, how's it going?
Hi, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing great. I am super excited tonight because, as I've mentioned, chocolate and wine, I don't fully understand it. So I'm ready to learn. I'm excited. you know, there's obviously a rich history with chocolate making, and obviously with wine making. I mean, going back thousands of years, I'm sure people have been eating chocolate and drinking wine for thousands of years. So I'm excited to get into this tonight. And I'm going to hand basically it all off to you. I want to learn. I want to see how it's done. And so if you have, you know, anything you need from me, you let me know. And then we'll get to tasting these wines in a little bit. But everybody, welcome Chef Izzy from Kollar Chocolates.
Hi.
We're excited to have her here tonight.
Hi, can everyone hear me okay?
I can hear you. So.
Awesome, perfect. So hi guys, really excited to be here. Yeah, so I'm Chef Izzy, been here at Kollar Chocolates now for about 4 years. I was actually raised here in Napa. Growing up here, I was just surrounded by a ton of food. I had some family in the industry, so I kind of always wanted to get into it. Actually went off to Santa Cruz to go to culinary school. A lot of people will stay here. I wanted to kind of go outside. Learned chocolate at a tiny little shop up there called Untitled Chapters. Kind of opened up my little, I didn't realize how wide the world of chocolate was, and that's kind of where I got my start. Learned how to do some traditional European style truffles. Wanted to get my hands dirty with some savory stuff. I wanted to, you know, chop up vegetables. I wanted to, you know, open up animals, the whole deal. Did that for a bit, but I wanted to come back to Napa. So I mentioned growing up here in Napa, it's not always the most exciting thing as a teenager. But when I came back, you know, with all this culinary knowledge and all this other stuff, it was really exciting for me to come here. I knew that we had, you know, Thomas Keller's, we had Bottega right next door. I was not expecting to find Kollar Chocolatier. This wasn't here when I was growing up. So I was super excited because I thought I wasn't ever going to find another chocolate shop kind of like what I had done before. So I started working here with Chef Kollar. For all of you that haven't been to the shop, Chef Chris here he's been here in Yountville for about 10 years. He sends us a hello. He actually had a little baby boy this morning. So if any of you want to raise a glass of that, we're super excited for him. Everyone's happy and healthy. So we're super glad. We're all in the shop crying right now because the baby pictures came in. But so Chef Kollar came to Napa about 15 years ago. He's actually a savory chef. He's been doing that for about 30 years. He's from Georgia, cooked all over the world. He was the Cayman Islands. He did a lot of stuff in the UK. When he came to Napa, again, he was an executive chef at a few places here, and he started rolling truffles, just like, you guys all know what are like Ferrero Rochers, those little round guys. He started doing that and just fell in love with it. Went off to Europe, brought back a ton of knowledge to us, opened up Kollar Chocolates. If any of you have been to Yountville, we're nestled literally right across the street from Bouchon Bakery. And then we have Bottega right next door to us, Coquette now, which I'm super excited about. And yeah, so we've been here now for 10 years, which is really exciting. Before we start, I'm actually gonna have you guys start tasting some chocolates. You guys have been probably staring at these for a while.
Let's do it, I'm ready. So
yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna explain, but we need to know like what the layout is, like what's the
So go ahead
map.
and
usually get the little map with all the, you know, descriptions.
Yeah, we're gonna lead you guys through this. So I have a little cheater one over here. So you guys are gonna have this in here. You guys should have two little
got that at home.
There. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got a better one than I do. You guys are gonna have these two little tulips, and then you're gonna have the CLB logo, and then there's gonna be a raspberry and a few extra fevs. To start you guys out, I'm gonna start you guys with the 72% fev. I'll explain what that is later, but it's gonna look just like that. It's gonna be the darkest one in there.
The darker of the two.
Darker of the two, and it's gonna be right below the white.
All right.
This is my favorite one to start with.
So that's it. Just go for it.
Yeah, go for it. What I like to do, go ahead and snap in half. Smell it, just like you would. You know, or you can just go and bump it, or you can just go ahead and check it. Yeah, get it in there.
See, it is like wine. You're supposed to swirl and sniff and all that. And see, I don't know anything. I'm just throwing it in and chewing it up.
Or just go ahead, get it in there.
So now I know. I'm gonna snap it.
So I always what people always ask is like, how did we get here? How did we get to, you know, how did we get Hershey's bars? How did we get all this stuff in front of us? I like to tell them the story starts about 2,000 years ago. And so we actually start out right here. So this is a cacao pod. And I'm going to, so I'm going to shake it around a little bit. Those are actually cacao beans that are shaken up in there. I'm going to show you what a bean looks like. I know some of you might have seen it. So that's a cacao bean. Kind of looks like a little almond. The husk still in there. So yeah, so about 10,000 or 2,000 years ago, the Aztecs they actually gave it its first name, and it still has the same name. I'm going to butcher this, but the original Aztec name is Chocolatl, which means bitter water. And so that's in reference to how it was consumed. It was just a bunch of cacao mixed in with water. Drink it for a lot of different reasons, ceremonial, and honestly, it's kind of like coffee. It gets you going. It's high in fat, high in calories, a lot of caffeine in there. Spanish came, brought it back with them. They added sugar. They did not like the bitter taste. For about 200 years, that was kind of it. It was just water, cacao, and sugar. The Swiss got their hands on that actually soon after that, and they started learning how to actually produce it. So I'm going to actually have you guys now taste this one. It's going to be the milk chocolate one.
So now I'm gonna like snap it and give it to
yeah. But I like your method, just going in right in. So the reason I'm having you guys taste this, a lot of people think that dark chocolate bar is like the original chocolate bar. When people first started tasting chocolate like we are now, they actually would have tasted something more similar to this. Yeah, which is really, they eventually started learning how to, refine it, also their stuff, but they would have tasted something like this. The Swiss are responsible for this, so say thank you. Yeah, you guys liking that one over there?
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah. And so that one, moving forward, you're going to taste what we do with that one. And that one's going to be used for that, the CLV logo. So yeah, so what happened about, when the Swiss started bringing the beans, they also started learning how to ferment the beans to get different flavors. You probably know a little bit about, obviously, about fermentation, how much it affects the flavor of wine. It's the same thing with chocolate. So once they open up these pods, by the way, this is kind of dry. Normally in the wild, once they're ripe, they're like orange, they're red, they're like a bunch of beautiful colors. So they'll kind of split these guys open, they'll plop the top off, and inside there's gonna be this like, kind of looks like a little bit like a brain, like a white brain. The beans are gonna be enclosed in this white pulp, and that's what gets thrown into these bins, and that gets fermented. And what happens is, I don't know if you guys, some of you might have cocoa nibs in your kit. And it's gonna be these little guys. I'm not even gonna show it to you because they're so tiny. They're just
like the little shot glass here.
Yeah, those little shot glasses. Feel free to eat them. They're gonna be really bitter. It's not for everyone. I really like them. I actually put it in my chocolate chip cookies, but you want to make them a little bit more interesting.
So I mean, I got a little. There's like little white circles and.
Yeah, so that's actually cocoa butter, and we'll talk about like where that kind of comes into it. And a little bit, so this is pretty much the full, that's all that's in your cacao bean. That's going to be cocoa butter, and it's going to be just cacao bean. So yeah, so once they get this stuff, they ferment it. What happens is that fermentation, it heats up. Like these bins are actually pretty warm. And what will happen is it's going to start leaching out a lot of that bitterness. And it's going to start developing the flavors. It's going to make it so that we can actually taste chocolate. And a lot of people don't think about chocolate as a fermented food, but it is. And if you were to take a cacao bean, dry it out, and eat it, it would not taste like the chocolate that we recognize today. Fermentation is like the most important part of that. I'm actually going to direct you guys really quick to taste that passion fruit.
Those taste like really fruity. Those little.
It is, yeah.
Like got fruity notes. It's interesting.
On an interesting note, actually, a lot of chocolate makers and people that are fermenting these, they'll actually ferment them with fruit. We have some that are fermented with passion fruit. Banana leaves are like a huge one. Banana peels too. Sometimes they'll even throw like apples in there and stuff like that, and that will affect the flavor of it. So after it's fermented, it's dried, they actually get sent all over the world. You guys have probably heard about like bean to bar and stuff like that. The really cool thing about the world being so connected now is it's giving everyone all over the world the ability to make their own chocolate blends. Same way that like in wines you have like your single vineyard, in state like wines. We can do that now too. So that 72% you guys tasted earlier, that's 100% from Venezuela, from one single plantation. If you were to taste a 72% from, let's say, Papua New Guinea, it would taste different. So in the same way that like wine has like I know I'm gonna butcher this word terroir, chocolate has the same thing as well. And I think that's why wine and chocolate just are kind of meant for each other. A lot of this stuff. So
is there like a Grand Cru, like the best place to source your chocolate? Like, like if I said to you like, hey, if there's one specific place in the world that you could get, I don't know, like 100 pounds of chocolate, where is that place for you? And do you know, would different chocolate chefs have different responses, or is there just kind of one universal, like that's the best?
So that's when you start getting into like chocolate makers. So just to give you a big, like a little overview, all chocolate is only grown 10 degrees above and 10 degrees below the equator. So
Wow.
that's your magic, like we call it the chocolate belt. That's kind of like your magic zone. As far as like which one is the best one, they're all really good. So West Africa is one of the places that I've had the best milk chocolate from. That being said, I haven't tried a milk chocolate from everywhere, but on a personal note, that's, I think, the best place that I've really liked. I just think it tastes really milky. We do have another chocolate that's from Ecuador specifically, and what they do is the milk that's going into it is the local milk. We use it in one of our products. It's a crunchy bar with hazelnut, and I think it tastes, people think it's really weird when I say this, but kind of like, it almost tastes kind of cheesy. You know, it kind of has that like kind of grassy flavor to it. I know, it's not gonna, I promise you it doesn't taste like that, but it has that like, I don't know, it's like this funkiness to it that I think is really pleasant. So it's just a matter of taste, really. But as long as it's 10 degrees below and above and below the equator, that's your best bet. And it's actually grown here in the United States. We have chocolate that's grown in Hawaii. So yeah, so chocolate is not exclusive to, you know, we have it here. It's a U.S. crop too.
Do you have like a chocolate that like that's like your whole like maybe it's a chocolate chef or something, like is there a chocolate out there that you haven't had that you're like, oh my god, one day I gotta have that chocolate?
Yes, there's this chocolatier in Canada that does some really
Hey Canada, right on.
So the Canadians, it's freezing over there. So they have all this time in the world to just like sit and make chocolate. So they're really doing some really like big stuff over there in Canada. So I would say that, and Patrick Roger in Canada, or sorry, not in Canada, in Paris. He's one of those guys that if I could go drop like $1,000, I think Patrick Roger in Canada. But we have one of the best chocolatiers here in Yountville, California.
There's no denying that. There's no denying that. But the Canadians, you know, we make some great stuff. We make some great stuff. We make great wine. We make great chocolate. I mean, you know, we just do. So.
You guys do good stuff. Yes, good stuff. Good wines too. That high def, especially. I took all three of them home, and the high def was probably my favorite one.
Oh, nice, high fidelity. I agree. I agree. That's one of my favorites. So hey, I didn't mean to kind of take you off here, but so where are we at? I just tasted the this one, the raspberry, correct?
So that's actually going to be a strawberry.
Strawberry, sorry.
Really cool thing.
See, that's how good I am at, you know, flavors.
Yeah, it's really
that's why I'm not a winemaker, by the way.
What was that?
That's why I'm not a winemaker.
Gotcha. So yeah, so you know, all this other stuff happens, you know, like I said, we're able to, again, now that we have all this awesome technology and we're able to ship stuff, we're able to do a lot of cool stuff. So that strawberry one, I'll have you guys taste that now. So this one's really cool. Some of you guys, you know those little white pellets that you had in there, that cocoa butter? So this one's really cool. So this one comes from a company called Valrhona, which is where we source all of our chocolates from. So they all come to us in these little coins. So what they do is they actually take wild strawberries that are grown in the area. These guys are close, they're in Leon. And they dehydrate them, turn them into powders, and then they bring this to us, which is super cool. It's so bright. I don't know that there's any vegans in our group, but this one's actually 100% vegan. There's no milk powder in there. And then what we do with it, I'm going to show you this, guys. We add pop rocks to it. So if you guys are ever in the valley, we are online. This one's really fun. Kids really like this one. So yeah, so like I said, we do some really neat stuff. Jacobson Farms, I don't know if you guys have ever been here. It's about a mile down the road from us. We sit down there for like an hour every couple months, and we just kind of explore. Peter Jacobson is a really cool guy. He just like he literally kind of grabs you by the hand and takes you through this, his little garden. It's almost like a secret garden in the middle of nowhere. And so we're able to do some fun stuff. We like to kind of stay close to what we have here in the valley. If any of you have ever been here, a lot of people think the smell of the valley is going to be like grapes or something like that, but I think it's fennel. So we'll like make fennel pollen truffles, and we've made mustard stuff. We just kind of like to have fun. But
Nice.
I'm gonna give you guys actually a taste of one of my favorite ones. So I'm gonna have you guys taste this one. So it's the one with the CLV logo.
Right. Let's go for it.
Yeah, and go ahead and pop the whole thing in your mouth. So this one's gonna be passion fruit.
So you
And
go the whole thing here. You're not supposed to bite it in half.
Go for it.
I mean, I'm trying to watch my intake here, so.
Oh no, it's Valentine's Day. This is like the week to indulge.
Yeah, having chocolate at like 4 o'clock is, for me, it's like normally I'm going to have it after dinner. But I can see because, in the wine industry, sometimes you're tasting wine at 10 in the morning. And I know a lot of people think that's kind of odd, but, it's the industry.
I'm eating chocolate first thing in the morning. And
There we go.
No, a good chocolate's healthy for you. Like I said, it's fermented food. It's got a ton of antioxidants. What do you think about the passion fruit?
I'm in Hawaii all of a sudden.
Yeah, and it's 100% passion fruit puree, and we use that milk chocolate that you guys tasted. That's what we put in there. So we'll heat up that ganache with tons of vanilla beans. So you're also gonna, if you really sit there with it for a little, you're gonna taste some vanilla beans. That one was really good with the Pinot. Pinot's really nice and bright, and this
I've got a little Pinot right here just by chance, so I might have to test you on that.
Yeah, so that one's super tasty. Yeah, enjoy that for a little bit.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That fruitiness definitely plays off the wine actually quite well.
And it's just pleasant. It's just nice. It's fun. So that one's really tasty. So I'm gonna now that you guys have had that, I'm gonna bring you back to the dark world a little bit. So that 72% that you guys had, I mentioned before, that one's from Venezuela. Single origin, comes from one single plantation, and it's gonna be that tulip. By the way, I love this logo. This is one of my favorite logos to work with.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's gonna be this one. Now, a lot of people don't like dark chocolate. They think it's bitter. They think, gosh, it's gonna make that wine man, it's just gonna take away from it. You have some nice high quality dark chocolate, especially this one. It's actually gonna have berry notes in there. This one especially. So yeah, go ahead and taste that. It's not gonna be bitter. It's gonna be super smooth. Yeah, drink that with your wine.
So what wine would you throw against that one?
That one I would do the High Fidelity. The High Fidelity, yeah, that's the one I was drinking that one with.
All right, so the logos don't line up with the wines, but that's fine. That's why you had to get on the webinar to actually see.
Yes.
Again, that's what we do. We try to keep everyone on their toes. That's why you get on the webinar.
It's all about flavor on that one. Yeah, that one's super good.
Yeah, that actually works quite nice.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Any questions so far from anybody in the chats?
Let's see. We got a lot of people talking about the wines they're enjoying tonight. I don't know if we got some shout outs to the Swiss for making it all happen for us so we can enjoy.
Yeah, no, they really did.
Beautiful chocolates.
Thank you.
But yeah, nothing specific.
You know what?
I'm actually curious. I've been asking you a lot of questions about, the chocolate that you'd like to have or the place, but in the wine industry, the wine business, most people that work in it have what they call the aha wine or the aha moment, the time when they had a wine that was like, oh my gosh. So for my dad, it was the first time he had a nice bottle of Bordeaux. And that's what led to all this happening.
Yeah.
He loves the wines of Bordeaux. For me, it was drinking California wine. It was the first time I had California Cabernet. It was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, for you, was there a specific moment you remember where, maybe it was when you were a little kid, but was there a time you had a fine chocolate or something you were like, whoa, I get it. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, so that happened to me in Santa Cruz. I wasn't originally planning on being a chocolatier at all. I liked chocolate, but it kind of just found me. So I started working at that little shop when I was in Santa Cruz. And I'm going to tell you, all it was a dark chocolate ganache. And it was made from the chocolate that's made from that same company that we're using now. And this is called a Guanahana. It's 70%. This one's a blend. And I just had never tasted a truffle that tasted like that before. It was just dark chocolate. And that was, I think, my aha moment when I was like, oh, wow, this isn't just up until then, I'm embarrassed to say, but I had really only been having chocolate bars and no shade on like the Ferrero Rochers. I still like them, but I thought that was kind of it. But when I was in Santa Cruz, just having a dark chocolate roast, and it was like, so the reason they're called truffles, especially those OG ones, is because like they would roll them in like cacao powder, so they look like, you know, like a mushroom truffle. And it just was this tiny little, like, kind of ugly little like, thing, and that was my aha moment. Yeah, when I was like, oh wow, like that was. So yeah, no, I definitely had that.
Nice. Well, we got a question about the fermentation. So how long do you ferment the cacao? Is it, you know, a week or two? Does it matter? Do you control that fermentation? You know, like, give us an idea how that works.
So, and it's going to be anywhere between 5 to 10 days. You'll find that dark chocolates are fermented a little bit less. So the more bitter you want, something more aggressive of a flavor you want, the more likely you are to ferment it a little less. So that's when you kind of start getting the chocolate makers can talk to their chocolate like plantations, and they're like, hey, can you ferment this one a little bit less? It's super controlled. They're constantly, it doesn't look controlled. If you ever watch these videos of how they're making it, I mean, so chocolate, it doesn't work when you manicure it. We're here in the Valley, we're used to seeing these like rows and rows of manicured and like really like kind of perfect rows of wines. Chocolate can't really grow like that. They tried. So it's all out in the jungle. And it really, if it doesn't have like a canopy, like of other like trees that are a little bit taller than it, it won't grow. But yeah, it's about 5 to 10 days or so, depending on what you want from the flavor. But yeah, they're sticking thermometers in there, so you can't let it get too hot. If you let it get too hot, it will completely kill the yeast in there, and it'll stop developing flavor. That temperature is it's always a trade secret depending on what the chocolate maker wants, but it usually stays about below 115 degrees. So not super hot, nice and toasty. Yeah.
Still hot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to show you guys something because I know you guys are probably wondering like how we get them to look like to look like all the colors and everything. So I'm actually going to show you guys a little bit of what we do with those. So I'm going to show you an example of some cocoa butters. So these are all 100% food grade. So again, that cocoa butter that you guys have, some of you have those in those little shot glasses of little pellets. So they take that, they melt it, and they add coloring to it. So then we airbrush them. This one's attached to an airbrush head. We'll take, you know, like sometimes we'll use like toothbrushes. You'll see us back there and like we'll flick. We'll use our fingers, all this other stuff. And I'll show you once we get a good color on these guys. This is what an empty chocolate mold looks like. We'll grab them, and so that's an already colored one that we can then fill. So we'll do that. And yeah, so that's what we're able to do. We really are a long way from like this to like what you guys see in front of you. It's pretty cool.
So the color on the chocolate is from the cocoa butter?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
I would not have thought that. I thought maybe you just put a little, you know, food coloring on there. You guys have some special spray.
And the reason for that, so chocolate is it's the most temperamental thing I've ever worked with. So it will only attach to like itself to other cocoa butters. The chocolate's attracted to chocolate. If we were to use like a water-based or any other oil-based color, it won't work. It just won't work. Chocolate wants to be with chocolate.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And so that's how we get the color on this red one. So I'm gonna have you guys try this one. So it's gonna be a raspberry. It's gonna be the really pretty kind of jewel-looking one.
That is really pretty.
Yeah. So this one's
all
actually
your guys' chocolates are always really pretty, you know?
Yeah, thank you. And that one will actually go, it'll pair with pretty much anything you guys have in front of you.
I'm gonna try it with our rock block.
That one's a good one out of all the stuff that we have in here.
That one's delicious. So, but that one's the raspberry, right?
So that one's a raspberry.
That's why I thought raspberry.
Yeah, so 100% raspberry puree, and we're gonna use that same milk chocolate coin that you guys had tasted earlier.
It works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one's a really, really good one. Now, I'm gonna leave the very last one. I'm gonna leave that white chocolate. This is where I always get a lot of faces whenever we do these demos, because a lot of people don't like white chocolate. A lot of people don't think that it is like real chocolate, but once you guys have kind of cleared your palates, go ahead and taste this one. It's gonna be super bright. Let me show it to you guys. This one. So that one is going to be from, this one's actually from, correct, it is from the Ivory Coast. Single origin on that one as well. So this one is just cocoa butter, milk, and sugar, and a lot of vanilla in there. And I like to have, that's my, when you're having like a full like flight of chocolates, that's kind of like your dessert chocolate, I guess. I know that kind of sounds silly to say, but that's like, that's your sweet note at the end of that tasting.
Mm. So that one more than likely is going to overpower these wines.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to taste this wine because I want to see. Because typically this is the thing, you know, you go to these, you do wine dinners, things like that, and you know, having gone through, you know, taking sommelier classes, it's always like make the dessert, make the wine should be sweeter than the dessert, which is obviously extremely tough to do when you have super dry wines.
Yeah.
So that's why we're always looking for things like dark chocolate and whatnot. And that, you know, that's what they teach you. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily true or you have to follow that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it does happen where you know, you'll have someone that just goes a little too far on the sweet side, and, you know, they want to pair it with your top wine, you know, poetry at the end of the night. And you're just like, ooh, it kind of took away from the wine because it was so sweet. So anyway.
Yeah. That one's, how will be though? Yeah.
I can see how that doesn't necessarily pull out more fruit from the wine or anything like that.
It does not. That's the one you kind of put in your pocket for later when you get home.
Yeah, that's kind of the end of the night thing. But that is delicious. That is delicious.
Yeah.
So it's called white chocolate, but it's cocoa butter, but there's no like, so, you know, how do they make it so that it's just white chocolate and it doesn't have any of the color or anything like that?
So we're actually going to go back to the Swiss. These guys did a lot of good stuff for the chocolate world. So they developed a process where those cocoa nibs that we had. Mm-hmm. So they have this giant machine where they're going to squeeze. There's actually a lot of, not moisture, there's a lot of oil in those little nibs. They're going to squeeze almost like you would, I don't know if you're getting like grapeseed oil and stuff like that. They're going to squeeze all the oil out of there. Mm-hmm. And then that cocoa butter is going to fall out of there. And so what you're left with is actually cocoa powder. And so that's how they get that. And a lot of it, actually, most of it goes to the beauty industry. Yeah, so most of it does not, it's funny to say that, but most of it doesn't go back into chocolate, like chocolate making. It goes into the beauty industry, makeup, lotions, all of that. But once you're able to separate that, you have that cocoa butter. So what you do is then you can add sugar and milk to that, and that's how you get your white chocolate. And they'll add a lot of vanilla too. So most of that flavor is actually going to come from whatever vanilla bean or, you're adding into there. But it is chocolate, I promise. But there's no dark chocolate mass. So one of the things I forgot to mention, you guys have been hearing me probably talk about like 70% this and 60% that, yada yada. Yeah. So that percentage is in reference to the cocoa solid, so the dark stuff. So so when you have something that's 70%, that's how much is in there. The rest of it is made up of cocoa butter. And the amount of cocoa butter they add into it, it depends on how liquidy they want the chocolate to be. And how strong they want the chocolate to be. Because at the end of the day, that's the stuff that gives chocolate its structure. Mm-hmm. And then they'll add, again, sugar. They want to make it into milk chocolate, they'll add milk to that. So yeah, that's what that is in reference to. All those percentages and all that. We have an 85% here if you guys are ever wanting to try that. And that one's like dark. Yeah.
So milk chocolate, was that a Swiss invention?
Yes.
Adding milk?
What was that? Yeah, to add milk to that. They just, I'm not exactly sure, if I'm honest, like what, if there was just a little bit, like if it was an accident or if they wanted to add to that. But they have a sweet tooth. They kind of just, they wanted to keep adding something that was, they wanted to make something that was more palatable. Because at that point it was just, it was just the drink. It was just water and chocolate. It's interesting to me that, you know, it's almost the same process. The white chocolate, you know, it's like press the raw material to get, you know, what you need out of it. And then you can make something beautiful like that. Just like, you know, with wine, with white wine, that's what you're doing. You're pressing the grapes and you're just taking the juice from the grapes and fermenting that to make white wine. So there's just another parallel, wine and chocolate. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's pretty. We got a question though about
The white chocolate, like what would you pair with the white chocolate? I'm going to throw it to you. Do you have a beverage that you like that is really nice with the white chocolate? Is it like a, yeah, liquor, hard liquor, something like that, like a bourbon or whiskey, or I mean, have you experimented with that at all,
To be honest, I never eat just white chocolate on its own.
Okay.
What I normally do is like we have something called our popcorn bark. So it's got corn powder in it. So what I would do is, I guess if you have, that's a hard question. I'm not a huge white chocolate fan. If I'm being
Hey, we like the honesty. That's why we're doing this. It's live. And we got, the real take.
What was that?
I said that's why we do this. We do it live and it's authentic and it's real. So that's, if you don't like white chocolate, you don't got to be sorry about that.
But when we do that pop rock with some of the strawberries, we do mix that with white chocolate. Mm-hmm. And so we actually pair that. If you have like a sparkling rosé, it's really good. We actually have a local winery here that we pair that with their sparkling rosé. So
that's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
Some of those sparkling wines can have a little bit more, higher sugar in the dosage to make them a little sweeter, and therefore likely would work really well with something like that. Yeah. Yeah. I was actually thinking we did a webinar last month for Christmas time, and our winemaker from Fell Wines had a drink that was a Christmas drink, basically, that was like I was thinking along the lines of eggnog, because something like that is sweet, it's creamy, it's thick. I mean, that obviously would work with something like that. I forget what it was called, something punch. But anyway, we're just throwing it back to the old webinar, Shout out to Ryan. I don't know if he's watching tonight, but
punch, it looks like
shout out to Ryan, Fell winemaker.
We do make eggnog. That's really tasty. Eggnog truffle during the holidays. So you can have eggnog with eggnog. But yeah.
I actually had over the holidays, I had some of your the candy cane chocolate that you guys make. And for anyone watching, if you want a special gift next Christmas, you've got to get your hands on some of that candy cane chocolate. Candy canes on their own, even mint chocolate for me is kind of but like that stuff, I was just like throwing it down.
No,
it was so damn good.
Super, and like I said, it's just a matter of having a good quality stuff. Same with wine. I know that, we can get like, boxed wine that's okay, or you can get like a bottle of wine that you can just grab. But I mean, if you really like take your time to like, learn about some of the winemakers around town and their stories, you're gonna find some good quality stuff. And it's the same thing with chocolate, which I think is really neat.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I think it's one of the coolest things ever is like living here in Napa. You go down the aisle, and one aisle is like, aisles and aisles and labels of wine. And then the same thing with chocolate nowadays. You see that a lot. You go down to the local Whole Foods and you're like, it's almost overwhelming, but I think it's cool. I think that's neat that there's so many options right now.
So you're telling me that we're going to start to see chocolate sommeliers out there working at the Whole Foods saying, well, if you enjoy this chocolate, you need to come and try this chocolate.
Yes, right? Totally. I'm pretty sure that you're going to see that.
Why not? I love it.
You're going to talk to a chocolate show.
See, a chocolate show. I mean, I've been to wine trade shows, but there's a whole world. There's a whole world, I'm sure. A chocolate show. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, no, totally. Go to that. It's the same thing. You're like, what is this even? You probably heard of like the white cacao beans and the rubies and all this other stuff. Like, it's super cool how much stuff they're learning now.
So if one of our viewers was like, I want to go to a chocolate show, like how do you just Google that, like chocolate show? Okay, all right.
Chef's been in a couple of chocolate shows. He actually, the fennel pollen, that's not in your box, the fennel pollen and the poppy seed saffron bar. He actually won that at a chocolate salon. So you'll see these big salons. There's two big ones in San Francisco. They're all over Europe. But yeah, totally. Yeah. Google them. Yeah. You're gonna.
And Chef Kollar, he won. He was on TV, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was on Chopped and he won.
Nice.
He actually wasn't allowed to tell us that he won for like months.
Oh, really?
He was on it, but he was like, it was months until he was allowed to tell us. And we all like kind of try to make him guess, like, hey, so like, what'd you make for dessert, chef? And he almost fell into it. But yes, he did win.
Very
He won
cool.
with a miso white chocolate. So actually, here's the thing: white chocolate saves the day. I should be a little bit more appreciative. The white chocolate, because it did save the day that day. He made a miso white chocolate and chili, and that's what got him the top championship. And
Very cool.
he came back and we made a truffle with it.
That sounds like an amazing chocolate, but we got a great question in the chat. Yeah. What is yours? What is your guys, y'all's? What's your most popular chocolate in the shop there? Like, what's the one that, you know, if someone's going to come in, they're like, I've never been here before, you know, give me the best of the best. What are you going to tell them to get?
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to feature that fennel pollen. You guys don't have it in your box, but I'm going to show you a picture of it.
Okay.
I'm going to show you the actual truffles. It's going to be a little bit like that. It's the same mold. So it's jeweled, it's green. So everything that we have here is thoughtful. Like everything that we make, we really put a lot of effort and thought into it. But I think, again, as like being a Napa native, I think I mentioned this earlier, the smell of Napa Valley for me is fennel. You walk out on a warm day and you're going to see all this wild fennel coming up. And so that's probably why that one's my favorite one. I just think, I don't know, I'm like attached to that one. And it is also our most popular one.
Nice.
Yeah, that's our signature when we come in. We tell people like, hey, I know that fennel can be, a lot of people associate with like licorice. But once you pair it with a little bit of that milk chocolate and you know, a little bit of cream, it's super good. It just makes me feel really homey and warm. So that one, yeah, fennel pollen. Nice. Is probably the most popular one. And then after that, right now we're selling a ton of our yuzu matcha. Like I've been making it like crazy. So we make a jelly out of yuzu citrus, and then we steep matcha into a ganache with white chocolate again. Here comes white chocolate again. Mm-hmm. And it's just really nice. And it's like earthy, right? So those are the two most popular ones right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, do you have the wine with you today?
I do not. I drank it all.
All right. All the wine's been great. I'm gonna take just a little time here just to talk through the wines, and then we'll open it up for a Q&A. We've got a few questions about the wines. So the wines we featured tonight, we started with the Fell Savoy Vineyard Pinot Noir. This is our estate property in the Anderson Valley. One of my favorite wines that we make with Fell, of course, because we own the vineyard. We just have that extra level of attention to detail. We get some really incredible fruit off this vineyard. Savoy sits at the middle of the Anderson Valley, so high range in temperatures throughout the day, warm days, cool nights, back and forth. That's going to give you a wine that has got a lot of structure, a lot of fresh acidity, and of course, it's got that beautiful California fruit. So I'm looking for dark cola here. There's always going to be that little hint of eucalyptus that comes from the pennyroyal that grows around the Anderson Valley and specifically in the Savoy Vineyard. Savoy is right across the street. I mean, really, it's the highway, the only road that goes through there, but right across from the Hendy Woods. So you get a lot of those forest floor elements as well. And truly, for me, this wine not only speaks well of the Anderson Valley, but it is so site specific that you could not replicate this wine anywhere else in the world. So Savoy, that's the Savoy. Cheers to all the viewers that are enjoying that tonight. And if you haven't tried Savoy, if you're more of a Cliff Lede fan, that's totally cool. But I encourage you to venture into the world of Pinot Noir, and that's a great wine to start with because it does have the power and the structure that may appeal to you. Now, number 2, High Fidelity. So probably, I know it looks like it's difficult to see on my screen, but there we go. High Fidelity. So this is the 2017 vintage. 2017, obviously a storied vintage with the heat waves we had and the fires and things like that. But I'm truly proud of our winemaking team for making, I think, some of the best wines we've made in recent years. I mean, it's hard to say that because it seems like every year they really push the envelope on quality and just keep taking it up a notch. But in a challenging year like 17, to achieve what they've done is incredible. This wine, to me, it always has a plushness factor. I mean, it's definitely Napa Valley. It's definitely red. You might think Cabernet if you blind tasted this because it does have a lot of structural elements. But the thing that would throw it off is that there's roundness and plushness and approachability that compared to our Cabernets, which have a little bit more, muscular qualities. This is a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more forgiving, maybe is the way to put it. perhaps more red fruited as well. There's still some nice like blackberry in there, but I think, you know, that raspberry chocolate that we had, that little bit of strawberry, if you took those and that dark chocolate and you mashed them all up and you put that on the palate, that's kind of what I'm getting here. Still really nice dark fruit. Again, acidity as well. My mouth waters when I taste this wine. It's got a lot of freshness. Good old Cabernet Franc will help you get there, and then that Merlot is what gives it that like that palate, that breadth. And I know, you know, in the wine world with some people, Merlot can be like a dirty word, but hey, we love our Merlot. We grow it right out here on our property, and it truly makes this wine incredible. High Fidelity is a wine that includes fruit from our vineyard here in Napa, in Stags Leap District, and also a little bit of fruit from some of the sites that we source for Songbook, which is our platinum, one of our platinum wines from David Abreu's vineyards. So if you you know, want to see what those properties are like with ours, I mean, it's kind of cool when you think, you know, you're taking Abreu fruit and Cliff Lede Vineyard fruit and putting it together in a bottle. That's High Fidelity, an ode to the right bank. So that's the whole idea there. Last but not least, Dancing Heart. I mean, we're at Valentine's Day. How could you not have the Dancing Heart? You know, we got the Twin Heart statue out here. Everybody loves that sculpture so much. And when they visit, they always got to get their picture in front of the hearts. So Dancing Heart, kind of a perfect wine for this occasion. This is from the Stags Leap District. So this has got the structure, the power, you know, the velvet glove over the iron fist. That's what we're talking about here. More black fruited. So we're talking cassis, definitely blackberry, maybe a touch of blueberry, but really, you know, on the darker fruit side of things. And I always get like the classic Stags Leap, maybe I should say the classic Cliff Lede element of like rock, like there's, and not like rock and roll rock. I mean, that's always going to be there, of course, but rock, like rocks, like hot baked rocks is clearly coming out of this wine. It smells like if you're walking around our vineyard, and that's what makes this wine probably one of my favorite Cabernets. We do make several appellation wines: Diamond Mountain, Howell Mountain, the Calistoga, which is another estate property. You know, the Stags Leap it's our home base, so it's always a really special wine for us. And of course, with the Marshall amp, you know, giving an ode to the rock blocks. Dancing in the Dark, Closer to the Heart. If you're a rock and roll fan, you should know those songs. You should know those bands. In fact, Closer to the Heart, Rush, Canadian band. For a long time, we didn't have a Rush block, and it was, you know, the fun fact with that is that we never really had a Rush block. We finally added it in because so many people are like, how do you not have, you know, Rush? They're Canadian. You're Canadian. What's wrong with you? So cheers to Rush. Cheers to them. Cheers to Dancing Heart. Hopefully you guys are enjoying that. And I think we got a couple more questions on the wine and possibly more questions on chocolate too. So at this point, we got about 10 minutes left. So I'm going to just kind of open it up to the chat. If there's questions, throw them out to us, and we would be happy to answer anything you'd like to talk about. I got a question here about the Dancing Heart being very lush. How does it compare to High Fidelity, which is resting nicely? I'm not sure what I mean, what you mean by resting. Which one will age nicer, maybe? Really, it's up to your personal preference. I agree that Dancing Heart has a lushness to it, and it has a lot of fruit in the palate. But when you really feel the tannic structure and move that wine around your mouth, you're gonna feel the power of Stags Leap District in that wine, and that's what separates it, I think, a little bit from High Fidelity. Not that High Fidelity is a weak wine, but it's a bit more broad on the palate, maybe a little bit more forgiving in terms of the power. It's not your big, you know, it's not your electric guitar with the amp turned up to 11 and you're like just, you know, ripping. It's maybe like the solo when you're kind of just, you know, High Fidelity is more like the solo when you're serenading the crowd and you just need a little chill break. And that's what I appreciate about it. You know, it's Cab Franc Merlot, and it just shows you how beautiful that combination of fruit can be. It's still a wine that'll age beautifully. And again, that just comes down to personal preference. If you like your wines big and bold, drink them young. It's not like, I mean, these wines are going to be powerful for the rest of their lives, but there's refinement that comes with aging them. And you'll see that as time goes on. So what does that mean? You know, buy a few bottles. Don't just buy one bottle. Buy 3 bottles, drink one now, drink one maybe in 5 years, and then drink the next one in 10 years. If you have the capability to do that, of course, and if you have the storage to do that properly, of course. Other questions coming in. Let's see. We got a question about the 2020 vintage, which is something that we talked a little bit about in previous webinars. And we did send an email out recently just kind of acknowledging the challenges we had in 2020. So for that vintage with Fel, absolutely, we're going to make some beautiful wines. Ryan has been, working incredibly hard with his team to ensure that the wines are going to be some of the best we've ever made. 2020 was a wonderful vintage all the way up until the fires. And with Fel, luckily, we were able to kind of get ahead of that and get the fruit in and make some what's looking to be very, very high quality and very promising vintages. So we are super excited about what's going to come out from Fel in 2020. However, at Cliff Lede Vineyards, we've just made the decision to not make wine in 2020. So there will not be any Cliff Lede 2020 anything. That includes Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet, High Fidelity, Rock Block. You guys know us, we're all about quality. Of course, we're about having fun, but we're all about quality. That's number one. And because of that, Chris Tynan, winemaker for Cliff Lede, he didn't feel that the quality was there. His palate, he was obviously, the one that can really pick these things out. He would definitely be able to taste that chocolate and be like, that's a strawberry, not a raspberry. So he's the guy that, he's the guy who came to us and said, look, it's just not there this year. And so the opportunity is that we've got some really great abundant vintages in 18 and 19, and we're going to come up with some really fun blends and things like that. And so don't worry, there's going to be lots of Cliff Lede wine to drink. We're not going to run out, but we're going to have some fun new things for you guys to taste from the 19 vintage, and we're gonna enjoy that vintage up until 21. So that's the plan, and the wines are going to be great, and of course definitely try those Fel 2020s. They're going to be incredible. So, but thank you for that question. Thank you for letting me address that for everyone. I'm trying to see if we got anything here for Izzy, because we got the chocolate pro on here. We got, what is Kollar's best dark chocolate confection? Is it still the fennel, or is there maybe another dark chocolate one that you really like?
For dark chocolate one, so fennel's actually going to be a milk chocolate one. So the dark chocolate, it's probably going to be the red wine. We do that with a Zinfandel. So it's not a super when you have like ganaches that are made, ganaches for fillings that are made with alcohols. A lot of times people are just so worried about making them like they want like a punch of alcohol. Here, Jen's over here, our manager. She's gonna actually hand me one real quick. So this is our red wine. Yeah, so like I said, people are so worried about just like giving you like a punch of alcohol. What we do here is we pair it with the Zinfandel. You're barely gonna taste the red wine, and what I mean by that is it's gonna taste gosh, what's the right word? It does kind of bitter it up just a little bit more than you would have that 72, but it's gonna taste, man, I keep saying the word berries, but a lot of the stuff that we have, a lot of the chocolates for me, it just brings up a ton of like berry notes. So this one's gonna be more like that. It's gonna be a little on the sweeter end of that 72. So this one's probably for me the best dark chocolate that we have outside of that 72. After that, for any of you guys that like spicy, we do an Espelette chili powder one. And so Espelette is sweet chili from France. And so I really like that one. I think it's a lot of fun. It's not like, again, nothing that we do is like offensive. Nothing that we have here is going to like make you want to take a glass of water. So I really like, the Espelette powder, the dark chocolate one is really tasty. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Izzy, do you drink wine when you eat chocolate? Are you a wine person?
I am a wine person.
Okay.
You're growing up here now, but you can't just like not be.
Sure.
I do. I really like. I like Zins. I like the sweet stuff. And
sure. So I was gonna say, so if you were gonna like pick a wine, to enjoy with chocolate, you're probably going more Zinfandel. Is that what you were?
I'm going a little sweeter, but personally, I do like them a little sweeter. That being said, though, I'm really enjoying right now. I just had a Pinot that I liked with chocolate a lot. I had in the last.
I think it was this one.
I've been drinking a lot of Pinots, but those are going to be your best bets. I think I'm just sort of honestly getting into wine, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Fair enough. I mean, we got the question, you know, what's the best wine to pair with a dark chocolate? What's the best wine to pair with a milk
Yeah,
chocolate? I mean, I was thinking, you know, Zinfandel is probably one of the best because I'm
yeah,
thinking the more like fruit you have, you know, the more
yeah,
powerful fruit you have,
yeah,
the more suitable it probably would be. So if we're talking about the best pairing, I mean, that's probably a safe bet. That
yeah,
doesn't mean that you couldn't do something from our portfolio that's a little bit more fruit forward, like the Rock Block we had tonight and the High Fidelity. I mean, for all those watching, these are the wines we chose these wines because we felt like they had a really strong core fruit, very forward in the fruit department, so that they would work well, and so we give everyone at Kollar the opportunity to really come up with the best chocolates that are going to work with these. So we didn't want to go with something that, you know, was a little bit more you know, more subtle, because we felt like that might not quite work. You know, something like Sauvignon Blanc, obviously, we
yeah.
wouldn't want to do with chocolate, or a
And
Chardonnay,
it's
for
actually
example.
really good for a snack. If you guys are like looking to have a snack, it's gonna be the dark chocolate with almonds and sea salt. That one's actually really, really
Nice.
tasty. We have people here that will buy it for their cheese boards when they're having
Oh yeah.
wine. So yeah, so that one's really good too. We'll have people like pick up boxes of that stuff to pair with any wine.
Yep. I feel like I'm gonna have to get over there and try all these things now, because I've had many of your guys' chocolates over the years, but I don't know if I've had the fennel one, which sounds
Yeah.
super interesting. And then the other one you mentioned, the matcha one, sounds cool too. But I think I've had that one. I come to
Yeah.
think of it, actually, I think I've had that one. It was good. It's got like a really like light cream center, almost like a. I think I've had that one.
No, that one's super good. Yeah, come visit us. We have an open kitchen here, so you guys can watch us make everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. Cool. Well, a couple minutes left. Let me just sort through some more questions. Let's see if anybody else has anything that they'd like to add. There's a question here about me being a DJ, which is, yeah, it's true. My go-to playlist. That's that's tough. I think as a DJ, you don't necessarily have a go-to playlist, because I think you're always listening to new music and new things. I am a hip hop fan, so if you looked up, you know, '90s hip hop playlist, it's probably my go-to playlist. That said, hip hop's not, you know, for every occasion or every person. So great time to mention that Cliff Lady Vineyards has the Rock Block playlist. Check it out. You can go on Spotify, look up Cliff Lady Vineyards, and you can get our playlist there. So I love that playlist. When I'm at home and I'm cooking dinner and I kind of just want to throw it back to the nostalgic old days of when my dad would be grilling, he'd be playing, you know, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Beatles. So I like throwing that on sometimes, you know, a little Van Morrison. Why not? So check that out on Spotify. You can get that link on our website as well if you'd like, but it's as simple as just looking up Spotify, Cliff Lady Vineyards. Get a bottle of our wine, get some Kollar chocolates, throw on the playlist, you know, put some Napa Valley Vistas on your TV, and you can you know, you can have Napa Valley at home. There you go. You can have Cliff Lady Vineyards, you know, tasting at home, Yountville at home. So give that a whirl. That's if, of course, if you can't come visit us. We'd love to see if you can make that happen. It is now 5 o'clock, and I want to be respectful of Chef Izzy's time. So I want to give you a big thank you, a big round of applause. You know, I'm sure everybody is clapping, all the viewers. It's definitely a testament to the quality of what you were putting out there, and you're speaking. No one has dropped off this webinar. As soon as
Oh,
everyone
good.
came in, no one has dropped off. So, you know, kudos to you. Obviously, very informative and very engaging. So, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And man, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about chocolate. You know, I'm gonna enjoy what's left in my boxer, take that home for my wife, and we'll see. Maybe you know,
Maybe
we
she'll
won't
get
tell her how much is left.
right. All right, thank you guys so much. Had a lot of fun. Come visit us. We're open.
Exactly, guys. We're open. Yountville's open. You can come see us at Cliff Lady. You can visit everyone here at Kollar and have some great chocolates and wine and everything. So please come visit us when you get an opportunity to. Reach out to us by email if you have any questions post-webinar here. You do need an appointment to come to Cliff Lady. What about Kollar? Do you need an appointment, or can you kind of just kind of
We are open Friday, Saturday, and Sundays right now, and our online shop is open 24 hours.
The online shop. There you go. So support small business, support local, pick up some more of these chocolates, grab some more of the wines. We have some really cool new releases coming as well. So the next webinars will be covering some of those. And we think we're going to do a bit of a deep dive on things like songbook and tokalon. So just a little teaser for everybody watching. The next webinars are going to be really cool. And we'll get the winemakers back in for those because, hey, we need someone on that knows the difference between strawberry and raspberry, right?
Next time.
All right, signing off. Izzy, thank you so much. I hope to see you around town. If you ever want to come by for a tasting, be happy to have you.
I'll bring chocolates.
All right, great. All right,
Bye,
have a good night.
you.
Thanks, everybody.